Warrior at least going down on both sides. This has been kind of the story of the Warrior decks in this tournament, where the Western players, the North American and European players, have generally been favoring Control Warrior, whereas the Eastern players, Chinese and Asia-Pacific players, have generally gone with Bomb Warrior. There are one
crazy matchup right now because the tempo swings are just nutty that each player can do, and it takes it. If one player leads onto the board and say the other player can't respond quickly enough, you just lose in a lot of matches. So you have to be able to keep answering the tempo swings back and forth. And the second you don't, you're just dead. That's it.
Muzzy, snap, key, prep, Myra's right off the mole. So we can pretty much see where his game plan's going. But yeah, I totally agree with you. It is a very explosive matchup back and forth. And I think Waggle Pick is a key card in this matchup for very different reasons than it is in most matchups, because it's so swingy. When you're playing Rogue against a class that isn't Rogue, you have a lot of privilege as the Rogue player, so you can often just afford to equip your Waggle Pick on 4, swing it at face, start pushing damage through. When you're playing against another Rogue, if they then answer that turn efficiently, like if they have Weapon Destruction, for example, and they tempo out like Ooze plus a 3-drop in response to your Waggle Pick, you've then tempo swung yourself by essentially sapping one of your own minions, and that can be very hard to recover from. So Waggle Pick on 4 is something that you do have to be very careful with in the Rogue mirror. Typically, you need the Dread Corsairs to support it if you're going to be going for that kind of turn in the Rogue mirror.
Right, and both these deck lists are extremely similar, although there is Yueying bringing High Sparrow and Togwaggle, whereas Muzzy stops at Myra's for himself. But in general, these are the more aggressive versions. You won't see the Thief-style mechanics or the Vendettas or anything like that.
And no Weapon Destruction in either deck, is that correct?
No, they're almost identical, these lists, both running one sap. I think the difference might be the Fan of Knives. There's 2 Fan of Knives in Muzzy's list, and I see
in place of the High
0.
Sparrow. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get cooking. There is Raiding Party, but no way to actually combo it for Yueying yet, so he can't actually draw that pick. And it's something we've talked a little bit about already, is how the game has changed a little bit, where you, at the moment at least, you never really want to play early minions into Rogue because it enables so much of the early game power, i.e. potential backstab Raiding Party, and also the Evil Miscreant as well. So there's actually so much that you can lose by playing an early game minion. We see the start of this mirror match. We said it's explosive, just not quite yet.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that 2-drops are at an all-time low in Hearthstone right now in terms of decks that actually curve out through 1 and 2. And that's a big part of the reason, is that if you play a minion on turn 2, Rogue, who is the majority of your ladder experience right now, looks back at you and goes, thank you very much. You just activated my turn 3 combo cards by giving me a target to backstab.
Okay, well, see what happens here. The coin with the prep as well on the Raiding Party. This is suddenly just switched on this whole deck, and now we start to see the fireworks explode. There's the Waggle Pick equipped, not swung, and then there is the Corsair double deck hand in hand, as well as that deadly poison. So already you see the absurd amount of damage that this deck can kick out of almost nowhere.
And this is directly contrary to what I was setting up at the beginning, because Muzzy recognizes he does have the privilege of knowing that Yueying can't tempo swing back against this. So not only does he not swing his Waggle Pick, he doesn't even play his Dread Corsair, because he knows that he's going to get full value out of this weapon with no Weapon Destruction present. So by not playing his Dread Corsair here, he continues to deny those tempo swing turns that we talked about earlier. No targets for backstab to be able to counter, and no target for Waggle Pick to hit if that was to come down on curve for Yueying.
It's honestly, although a lot of these games, especially this mirror match, like you may have played at home, look very straightforward. Oh, just hit him in the face, yeah? They're actually so strange because it's backwards Hearthstone. I won't play minions because it benefits my opponent for me to play minions. And it's such a weird way to look at the game, but the second you slip is when you lose. If you go back and look at games you played previously, you will lose the games you try and play early minions like this.
And now timing from Muzzy. Muzzy's not just going to sit around and not play minions forever, but he's now overloading the board. 3 minions at once means this Waggle Pick isn't just going to take out his entire board state, pushes an enormous amount of damage, and now Yueying has to answer this back.
It's like, oh, just setting up 2-turn lethal from 30.
Yep.
It's so silly. And now, that, like you said, it's just all about tempo. And the problem is Yueying now has to respond and gain somehow. And Rogue is a pretty good class right now. But when, as you said, Muzzy's timed it extremely well to go wide, it is very difficult to do. And suddenly, Eviscerate's been used, Backstab's been used. There's a 3-3 or 2 3-3s now on the board. And Ewing's going to have to swing this weapon and doesn't actually kill off the 2-1.
Yeah, I like it. I don't really see what benefit killing the 2-1 there gives you. It protects your 3-3 from Fan of Knives, I guess, is the #1 reason. But, you know, you take an additional 2 in the process to try and prevent 6, but you're also not pushing the damage. So in terms of, like, net damage loss going swinging both ways, you kind of break even if your opponent has the worst possible answer.
Really nice just tucking that Hench Clan in behind the Corsair as well, because it's normally a target that everyone's used to seeing it on turn 3. But now, even late, it's kind of awkward to deal with outside of an Eviscerate, and every point of damage that your opponent doesn't use on your face makes you just that little bit safer, especially when I half joked and actually it was true, was Muzzy was setting up just basically a 2-turn burst to actually kill Yueying off.
And this is where there's been a lot of criticism of Hench Clan Thug, and it's not a card I personally favor in Rogue because it clashes with really what you're trying to do with the deck. You know, when you have Hench Clan and Waggle Pig down together, Hench Clan wants you to attack with your weapon every turn. But if you attack with your weapon every turn, you're going to bounce your Hench Clan Thug back to your hand and completely waste your own time. This is the kind of hand where Hench Clan Thug is incredible still in Rogue, because Yueying can continue to buff this Waggle Pig with Greenskin and keep trying to push damage with Hench Clan Thug. And if it gets to the point that you've gone through 3 charges of Waggle Pig, well, your opponent's probably dead if you've still got a Hench Clan Thug on board. So the bouncing it back to your hand part of the equation is just not relevant.
And this is the difference now. Yueying can hold on to that pick, whereas Muzzy cannot. And also, Yueying does have a sap available to him, which means at any point, he can just skip a minion for Muzzy if there's a top, you know, and of course they're in the way. Muzzy had to trade his 6-attack weapon in. Yueying could just go, oh no, get back in the hand, boom, there's more damage to face.
Right.
And now there's a health feed.
This Waggle Pick #2 plus the Leroy on Muzzy's side is representing lethal over the next 2 turns here, though. But because the Greenskin's been dropped down as a threat, Muzzy can't develop the pick here and clear the Greenskin without taking damage, which is what he'll be trying to do.
Can he... I was wondering whether you can ever get away with like some way of rationing the resources where you deadly poison this turn so you can Fan of Knives trade, go face with that damage, and then maybe over the next turn pick into Leroy afterwards. It's very long-winded.
Right, it still costs you an entire turn, which does feel pretty bad.
It's just,
Muzzy's spot.
You could just be dead to Leroy next turn, which is why I think the kill on the Greenskin's huge, but I don't know if there's time to do anything else.
Well, I think in Muzzy, if you're in Muzzy's shoes right now, you are a turn behind, right? Even if your plan is Waggle, pick up, go face, kill him with Leroy the turn after. If Yueying has Leroy, you are a turn behind that working anyway, so you just lose. So I think if you're Muzzy, you have to live in the world where your opponent doesn't have Leroy, because that's the world that you can win in.
Right. Okay. We're just going to go for it.
Yep.
Just going to set it up and say, let's go, see who has what. And we can see that Yueying, in fact, does not have Leroy right now. The Vis would do it, though. Oh, is that 1? Oh, if he
bounces the deckhand or the SI, then he will have lethal.
I like those odds if I was Yueying right now.
Yep.
And as I said, the matchup is absolutely savage, and it just became a face war this time with just those 2 very powerful tempo players.
The Greenskin's green. Oh!
The 1 out of 3 bounced. The 1 that Yueying did not want to see back in his hand.
Oh, and that is brutal.
And now, I don't think there's anything he can even do from our point of view.
Nope. That is savage for the Chinese player. 67% chance at lethal. Saps the SI, and all that means is that Muzzy doesn't have to go through the rigmarole of trading it to guarantee his Leroy bounce, and he doesn't even need that. He's just got straight up lethal.
Absolutely insane there, and you see how close, especially not exact 30 cards for 30 cards, but the mirror match becomes when those turns are played out. And both players, I think, played very well and had their timing points down to almost perfection.
And I want to highlight that because it's very easy as an
This is a funny statement in itself, but Hunter currently 2-6 in score today. And we're going to see how it goes up versus Muzzy's Zoo here. HCT, not a bad opening hand, though, with the spring pot, the choice of 1-drops and even the 2-drop into Unleash the Hounds. So there is some pretty good openings there. We have seen some openings with a little bit, I would say, for Hunters. But Muzzy, not really got a bad opening himself, with the kind of difficult to get a bad opening when you're playing so many 1-drops in a deck.
Yeah, 3 1-drops in his opening hand. No surprise. 1-drop Muzz. That's what they call him.
Called him that for years. Okay, so Mekaru is going to fill out this turn 2 as well if Muzzy wants to just go a little bit wider, and I don't really see why not. Solly doesn't have the mana to do anything with Solarium, and Direwolf Alpha doesn't really do much except push 1 extra damage.
Right.
And also because the only minion that would suffer from HCT's board state here would be the Mekaru, but it still leaves behind a 1-1, so even that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you might still be encouraged to trade just to stave off, Timberwolf options from your opponent, to you just losing your Flame Imps that way.
Yeah, you get to push 3 though.
You do.
And if they play a Timberwolf on 2 and nothing else, I'd be pretty okay with it.
You're not wrong. I don't disagree with anything that you're saying right now. Just presenting options.
Oh, okay, the Muzzy, let's go for the trade. Sol wins this round. Another Shimmerfly for HCT, but now he does have the Spring Paws. They're going to be very flexible, and it's, this card's just going to be in Hunter till this card rotates, in my opinion, or at least in any Beast Hunter, I'll say.
Yeah.
Because just the 1 mana, just 1/1 rush is so powerful to just react to the board.
Yeah, and then when you factor in other cards like Direwolf Alpha and Timberwolf and Scavenging Hyena that all have just such incredible synergy with it, it's a card with, a lot of flexibility, very little downside, and huge upside when it comes to some of the power plays that you can bring out with it.
Yeah, this is the bit where it gets tricky, though. Like, questions start to be asked as to what's HCT's overall plan. Not so much for this turn, as I said, that the Lynx is very powerful. But for the next couple of turns, there are options. But you need to. I feel like you have to squeeze that Master's Call in, and maybe trying it sooner rather than later is a good idea.
Yeah, I can see it, because you definitely want to go fishing for a Timberwolf sometime soon when you have that Unleash the Hounds in hand. Yeah, I mean,
it's one of the weak points of Zoo, isn't it, right now, is that they can't really deal with a singular big minion unless they already have a massive board.
Unless they have, like, a Magic Carpet in play, yeah.
And even then, it costs them a lot of resources for just a 2-drop.
Yeah.
Let's see. Taking his time. But again, with double Direwolf and Solarium, like, Slime's just not going to get the job done right now, and this pushes plenty of damage and puts some decent bodies on the board. There's the Hyena.
Well, Timberwolf will complete the combo right about now.
Could fish a Scale Hide and then use the spell as well. Forgive me, I cannot exactly remember the name of the spell.
Beast Within, I believe.
Okay. Oh, is it really called Beast Within?
I think so.
I should have known that.
Why should you have known that?
Because
apart
it's
from the fact that you're a professional Hearthstone caster and it's your job.
Okay, this is a spicy one, Sol. Mainly because it is a Hunter ability / talent in World of Warcraft.
Gotcha.
And I play Hunter.
Okay.
Oh, there's the Carpet. And frankly, without it is, I feel like the Magic Carpet is similar to the power level of Hyena in the Hunter, in that it's so difficult to deal with once you just get it situated on the board, safe, that whoever gets one down first, I think, is so far ahead, it's kind of insane.
Right.
Now, is Muzzy going to get the correct board placement for this Direwolf? That's the question Twitch chat are asking right now.
Well, where would you suggest the correct placement for this Direwolf is?
That was the point.
Okay. I do like that positioning has really come back in a big way in this expansion, because Direwolf's being played, and the Faceless Lackey is very important where you place it, just in terms of if Direwolf comes out of it, what would you like to have the attack buff?
There's a Betrayal being played at this World Championship.
Yeah, and positioning against Rogue is very important because they can discover Betrayal so often, even if it's not in their deck, because of the Spell Lackey.
Okay, HCT, show me what this Hunter can do, because you've drawn a lot of cards, you've got a lot of beasts, and now you've got Unleash into Hyena. Now, the question is, if this is not good enough,
right,
then surely the deck is not good enough, right? Because this is what it is built to do, 9 times out of 10.
Gonna have 6 health on this Hyena when it's all said and done, I believe, yep.
And reduce the power on board quite dramatically because the minions being killed at dire wolves, then the chances of trading up is pretty low.
That's not gonna get there. He needed exactly Flame Imp off the top to be able to clear this off this turn with the Magic Carpet.
Abusive.
Abusive would have done it as well. Yeah, you're right.
Ooh.
The Solarium was going to allow him to find those options as well still.
Something you'll like.
Go on.
I didn't realize because it was a one-of. A cheeky Soulfire in this list
yes,
from Muzz.
Isn't it a beautiful thing?
Yeah. Also, the Microtech controllers as well, not super standard, but you see it creeping in recently, like last few days.
Yeah, there's a lot of players saying that like Microtech controller plus Sea Giant is just kind of like the package, you know?
Right.
Like those cards should go index together if you're trying to build a Sea Giant deck, and if you're looking to kind of prey on other tokeny decks by, you know, counter swinging against them with Sea Giant, then that's kind of the go-to build.
I feel like Muzzy needs to get lackeys and hope they're the good ones, to be completely honest, to help with this Hyena.
Muzz agrees.
Yeah. Not always after.
Yeah, Faceless.
Those would
summon a 2-drop and evolve he's ended up with, and that's not what he's looking for.
Probably the 2 worst.
I mean, it's very situational, but in this spot...
Yeah, for this one, you
know, he's looking for, like, spell discovery, maybe, find himself a Soulfire, even try and take care of it.
Even deal 2, the +1 rush just helps doing extra damage to the board, because what I was worried about is you go lackeys, you get what Muzzy got, and then he has to go wide.
Right.
And even though, yes, there's only 1 Unleash left, there is still Spring Paws, there's still Tundra Rhino, so there are charge minions that can impact a wide board, potentially, and then just buff this Hyena even more.
Right.
Although this Voidwalker might be doing the best job in the world right now for Muzzy.
Well, I can still connect for the 14 this turn if he wants to.
It's just the amount of attacks it ends up soaking because of the way the minions are shaped.
Yeah. I don't mind it though. Actually, maybe just hitting for 12 and playing 2 Scale Hides instead.
A little bit safer.
Might be better. Just consolidates board a little more as well.
Do you have to consider, again, this match is very tricky because then you have to consider Sea Giants.
Yeah. He's going to trade. He's going to double up on Hyena and just use these Spring Paws to trade instead.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I see it, I take everything back. And this is probably the most robust play across the board.
I'll rewind time just a little bit. 1 Soulfire, not 2.
Yeah.
Only 1. So if you make 2 big Hyenas, well, he's only killing 1 of them. Nice play as well.
He uses his beast with him.
Okay, Sal. What 2 drops would be sick here to evolve into?
It's a great question.
I don't have the answer.
No.
It'll just have to be like a 3 attack thing.
Hogsteed? Rushman?
Oh, that's true, yeah. I guess on the same merit, Scale Hide.
Uh-huh.
Bear in mind, summoned minions do not get the buff off Magic Carpet.
Right.
So, easy comparison. Unleash the Hounds would not buff through Magic Carpet, and same with the Evolved tokens too.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So he's going to take, if he just trades and makes a board, he will take minimum 18 next turn.
Yep.
He's on 25. Like, he can take 18 next turn.
He's also likely to use all his resources this turn and not life tap. So even if HCT ignores the Magic Carpet with his remaining, 16 attack Hyena, it's not like Muzzy can get his hands on enough 1-drops in 1 turn to be able to then take care of it, right?
Oh, 3/3. Not bad. 2 mana 3/3. Hard pass on that 2-1. I would not send that one in. Okay. Muzzy's holding on to it. There's an extra 2 damage as well.
18, 20, he has 22. I don't see any more than that.
Wait.
You can just smash 2 Scale Hides into the 3/3.
Yeah.
It push 2 each, and then 2 from either Hatchet or
you
Hero
do that,
Power.
right?
Do you?
Oh, you got... How much damage are you expecting? Well, you're not going to die next turn, right? You put your opponent to 4. 1 Voidwalker's already dead.
But if you don't take... Yeah, I was going to say, I think you just actually take good trades with the Scale Hides, because if you just leave all the power on board, you're asking for this Hyena to get cleared, and if this Hyena gets cleared, you can still kind of lose the game from that position, right?
Well, you can put them to, what, 3 or 4? If you jam them in?
3, yeah.
And then you have Hatchet Hero Power. And like I said, one Void Walker's gone.
Maybe.
And I believe, I'm just going to quickly check before I sound really silly, there's no other taunts in the deck. So there's a 1 Void Walker to stop you getting lethal, and they cannot kill you. It was worth considering.
Yeah.
There's the package, as Salt call them. But don't think it's going to be enough.
Muzz just scanning all his options to try and find a way out, and he decides that life tapping is not going to find him anything better than this. And you do see why these two cards are considered so naturally synergistic. 3 mana play puts 3 bodies on board, meaning that it's technically free alongside that Sea Giant, but HCT just needs any source of damage, and he has it with the Tundra Rhino. So he is going to square it up. Hunter gets over the line very, very quickly indeed. I've got to get this in there. It's against a deck that I have more huge question marks over in Zoo.
Yeah, and bear in mind, I think the huge importance to this deck is drawing Unleash the Hounds is so important. Obviously in this matchup where Zoo wants to go wide, but without drawing that card, your deck does pretty much nothing. But the idea is obviously with
faster than a Warrior game sometimes. So it's no surprise to be seeing a lot of Warrior bans go out.
Yeah, so here we go. It looks like the players were just about getting ready to go into game now.
They're way ahead of us.
Yep. Muzzy on the Zoo Warlock and HCT on the Rogue. And what do you make of this matchup? Do you want to just break this matchup down for people viewing? Because I think it could be very easy for people to think, well, Warlock goes wide and fast with loads of 1-drops and Rogue can't keep up because they don't have 1-drops and 2-drops to play. Which
is a reasonable assessment, but there are swingy cards. They don't have 1-drops and 2-drops. They do have very, very good 3-drops. I'm looking at Miscreant, I'm looking at SI7 Agent. If you get either of those in combination with Backstab, which coincidentally, just to illustrate my point, HCT has that exact combination, then the advantage that Muzzy is able to get with his 1-drops as 1-drop Muzz on turns 1 through 2 is very easily counteracted by just the quality of the cards that Rogue can start playing after that.
Right, and mostly importantly here, double Crystallizer and then just the Flying Carpet is huge because even Rogue does not really have a good way to kill a 6-health minion early game.
Backstab Waggle Pick, Backstab Abyss.
Right.
Abyss SI.
But that's not like a nice way to clear off one single minion.
It sounds alright to me.
Well, then enjoy the other 4 other 1-drops they're going to be playing afterwards to catch up.
Fair enough.
That's where the game gets a little bit tricky as well, and something that feels harder and harder to work out is when and how to utilize a dagger when you have a Waggle Pick in hand.
Yeah.
Are you Waggle Picking on 4? Do you actually wait? Should you wait? Do you need to do it sooner? If so, do you swing the dagger because it's going to be gone anyway? All these questions are very difficult to answer, and you could miss a lot of damage by doing them wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of important things just going on in that dagger pass turn, unbelievably. Which, by the way, I know, like, the best deck in the game is always going to be hated, and people will always assume that the best deck in the game is, like, brain dead and easy to win with. And there's a certain amount of truth to that, because if a deck is powerful, it's kind of by definition easier to win with. There are a million decisions to make all the time with this Rogue deck. And just to illustrate that, like, somewhat obviously, he's not backstabbing this 1-3 this turn because he wants a combo activator for his Evil Miscreant on the following turn. But then beyond that, we go into what you were talking about, where he doesn't swing his dagger, even though he's curving into Waggle Pick on 4, because he's thinking he's probably not going to play Waggle Pick on 4, because after his turn 3, where he potentially activates his Miscreant or plays his Hench Clan Thug, he's then going to go the other way round and go Lackey Hench Clan or Miscreant Lackey on turn 4. Right. So his Waggle Pick isn't necessarily going to come down that fast, therefore save the dagger charges.
Yeah, and it's funny because you touched on it, was like, okay, so, you know, he's going to play the Miscreant on 3 with the backstab. It's like, well, is he? He might play Hench Clan.
Right,
so
yeah, exactly.
That's a completely different path as well.
Yeah.
So it is very difficult because, look, even if a deck's full of powerful cards, you can only play so many a turn, so you've still got to work out which powerful cards you do want to play. He did go for the Hench Clan swing, and now we're going to wait. So now the backstab can't be used on the 1-2. and he still has the backstab waggle pick. He has the backstab miscreant and a lackey the turn after, which is why I never really mind it being a little bit delayed, because the Hench Clan on 4 feels worse than a miscreant plus lackey on 4.
Well, the other way around, he would have gone Hench Clan plus lackey on 4, right? So it's kind of comes out in the wash. I think most importantly, what this does for him is allows him to punish Magic Carpet if it comes down, right? Because he then has exactly that backstab waggle pick turn we were talking about before to be able to take that out.
Yeah, and the key for me, I meant in terms of which one's better, is just that you can attack with the beefy Hench Clan versus getting attacking with a one-attack minion instead. So the attack being front-loaded on the Hench Clan feels better. But here is the Microbots with Grim Rally as well. And this board just suddenly got very, very wide and a bit beefy as well.
Muzz just shipping it all downtown.
Yeah, you don't play with a Hench Clan Thug, do you?
So now, HCT does have the opportunity to tempo swing here. Backstab on the 3-2.
Deckhand looking pretty sweet too.
He gets 2 damage. He doesn't. He does get the rush. That's a big board swing.
He could have deckhanded anyway. If he,
Very true.
he didn't need the lackey, although playing a lackey above the deckhand's probably better. Now that, as you said, he can do the rush. He wants to wait. Huh, okay. Is he considering the potential need for the Togwaggle in hand?
I don't necessarily think so. I just think the deckhand is less flexible because he can just use his dagger that turn, and then the deckhand is like used, right? Like, whereas if he uses his dagger that turn, he doesn't necessarily want to commit to re-dagger or waggle pick on the following turn, so his deckhand might not necessarily have charge.
Sure. Always feels nice though making a minion that can't attack, which is always good for that rush.
Yeah, but he can like always do that, just even if he does it with Witchy Lackey next turn, right? Like he has 2 lackeys in hand, so he's always going to get rush.
And also, just a side note, a lot of the time I've played that Goblin Lackey for just +1 attack. It's more damage to face.
Yeah, get him.
So many.
So kind of exactly what I was talking about going into this, right? Like you saw Muzzy just get what looked like a fairly insurmountable lead, but suddenly the quality of the cards that HCT was able to play to try and catch up has now put Muzzy in a pretty sticky spot.
Backstab's a really good card.
It's not bad.
I'm gonna just go wild with that prediction.
I have seen worse Hearthstone cards than Backstab. That is for certain.
Like every other card on the board now.
Ooh, 3 damage into the Miscreant. Means that Witchy Lackey represents some value here, but it does mean, by sending that damage in first, that HCT cannot now value trade the Direwolf with his dagger and then evolve afterwards. You could argue that this attack is actually playing around the Witchy Lackey as much as it seems to look worse against it.
And it's pretty sick as well, because it sounds a bit backwards, but if you left it, you don't care about 1/5 being alive.
That's twice in 2 series we've cast.
That is actually twice.
2/6 taunt.
At 2 different mana costs.
And HCT can just dominate the board now.
And there's double Avisna waggle pick in hand.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
the game's over.
He can use the Avis to dominate the board right now, or he can use 1 Avis plus the rush. However he wants to ration this out. Probably best to use the rush right now because you're kind of running out of opportunities with very few minions in hand.
Oh, then you can just play Togwaggle.
Then you just play Togwaggle. Yeah, exactly.
This is probably slightly more flexible overall.
Sure.
Because if there's a way that these lackeys could die, then there's no need. You can just waggle pick next turn and then go.
Yeah, you're right.
Because there is nothing else in hand now for HCT, and if he draws like no more card draw effects, then he is basically has to win this game with these cards.
Yeah.
Whereas guaranteeing a Togwaggle might be 1 turn later, but it means he could get draw 3, make them cost 0, which is difficult to lose the game with that.
I mean, honestly, he kind of just guarantees a Togwaggle this way anyway. How is that 1/1 dying against
it? Would have to be Knife Juggler, wouldn't it?
Juggler's about it.
But that's what I mean. You don't want Juggler, Egg Break, juggle 2 lackeys, and then it's like, oh, I have a 6 mana 5/5. Whoops. It's kind of a win-win. He has the pick as a backup.
Yep.
Now, this is the problem with Magic Carpet. At this point in the game, if you're behind, it takes a long time to get you ahead, purely because it costs 3 mana, which is expensive for the Zoo Warlock.
Right. I think with the Carpet there, HCT, Yueying is perfectly happy to just divert for a turn here.
It's fine.
This is the flexibility that you were talking about, right? He wanted to do something different this turn, so now he just has the combo on 7, even if his 1-1 does die. Mekaru doesn't win these.
Another carpet.
It's just not really a huge amount of gas, is
Yeah,
it?
just carpet, double 1-drop.
What does that achieve?
Well, Muzzy's nowhere near dead. So do you just go as wide as you can, make another awkward carpet for him to deal with, and wait? And try and Grim Rally next turn?
Sure.
I don't know what else to do, Sol. I'm struggling. The benefit you have got to consider is Muzzy is on 26 health, which is a large amount considering there is a 1-charge weapon and 3 power on board. Like that, he's not going to die anytime soon. And the Direwolf I think does less than the 2 1-drops, especially because of the carpet.
Well, it does, in a weird way, put more power on the board, right? If you just trade your egg in and just get the 1-1s.
You could just Grim Rally the egg next turn, though, right?
Right, but then it's a whole other turn before they get to attack.
But these 1-drops get burnt. I think I like this.
Okay. I'm fine with it. Is it time? It's time.
Here we go. Going for the Wondrous Wand, which, as I said, just in case you don't know the treasures you can choose from, the Wand is probably the most, on average, best pick. And it is 3 mana, draw 3 cards from your deck, and make them cost 0 forever. There is no time limit on them.
Even in the next game, they still cost 0.
Yeah, some people like to lose this game just so they can have 0 costs in the next
You can take a break from Hearthstone, come back 2 years later, and they still cost 0.
But they'll be in Wild, so it doesn't matter.
Wow, shade thrown at Wild. Wild fans, at Ravencast on Twitter.
Yes, interactions. So yeah, there's the Grim Rally, just making the board as big as possible. And this Juggler actually might do amazing if you can hit that 2-4.
It is upsetting that happens in the bad order for you, though, isn't it?
Ooh. Well, that's also upsetting for Muzzy. Just one Jug, just get rid of this 2-4. Does he? Oh no, that wouldn't really help, would it? Never mind.
Well,
yep. I like 3 cards that cost 0. Oof.
Well,
wait, that costs 0. Oh no! Okay. 1 out of 3.
And then this draws another card that costs 0. Okay, didn't get that.
Oh, so now, how safe do you think Yueying feels now? Because he could just go Greenskin Taunt and go face.
Yeah, see, I actually want to rewind and talk about the legendaries pick off the Togwaggle there as well, because I think that was an option where you just dump some legendaries on the board, go face, and you have lethal set up.
Definitely an option. I've been stung too many times personally, though, by that card. They are never Ragnaros. They are always Lore Walker Cho.
But I mean, just, a couple of 5/5s or 6/6s or something. They didn't have to be spectacular in that spot.
I don't even get those.
Okay, fair enough.
Trust me, I get Thalnos, Lore Walker Cho, and a Millhouse Mana Storm.
Hey, a couple of 4/4s. Sign me up. 3 mana, 2 4/4s.
I think drawing a million cards is great, too.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. The pick into a 1-1. Sorry for popping down the mic then. I apologize, but that was pretty nutty.
Yeah.
So Yueying actually went the complete opposite of what I would have suggested of just going face, going wide, and just saying, let's go.
Decided to hyper trade instead. Kind of reasonable.
I guess the idea, especially with the sap in hand, is like, well, what can Muzzy even do now?
Exactly. what problem can Muzzy pose that I cannot solve?
Tap. And then...
So many.
Package.
Tell me more. What? What about his package?
No, Microtech controller, so don't put words into my mouth. Myra's is just more fuel for the fire that I believe Yueying does not need, to be completely honest. The sap on the Sea Giant. Probably going to just put a...
Giddy up, Greenskin, let's go.
Yep. Put an end to this game, to be honest. He doesn't even need to, right?
Yeah.
You can just Greenskin next to it, it's only +1 damage.
Yep, I don't mind it.
Oh, 9 mana. Gotta wait a turn to get that +10 attack.
Looked up the definition of greed in a dictionary, you would just have a transcription of that sentence from Raven right there.
He had so many other card choices.
HCT looking very comfortable.
Yeah, especially because we can see the green skin. Muzzy might be thinking, okay, well, what if he attacks, it bounces the Hench clan? Does that get me enough time to hit him once or twice? But then we can see, well, actually, it doesn't bounce because HCT, if he so desires, can make this pick +1 durability and also hit for 7. He's just missing 1 damage, so can he Raiding Party into a deckhand?
I'm wondering if he Myra's first. Yeah, so Myra's first because he can then pick up, like, Sap, which gives you the perfect answer to the Giant. Leaves you completely safe, and since he picked up the prep as well and another 0-mana Dread Corsair, he can just do everything. Prep, Sap, Dread Corsair, and Greenskin this turn. And I think Muzzy's only response in that position is to reach forlornly for the bottom right of his screen and hit that concede button.
Yeah, slight mistake on my part. I didn't even think about Sap because I made an auto assumption that everyone runs 1 and he actually runs 2.
He sure does. Actually just has lethal here, right? With the second deadly poison. Yep.
Oh, yep. I didn't even look.
All he's doing is saving Muzzy the time of reaching for the bottom right of his screen and hitting concede.
He had long-term lethal anyway, but this just sped it up a little bit. And HCT actually just going up to a 2-1 lead against Muzzy now, and the Rogue taking down the Zoo. And again, I feel like the more we will see Rogue throughout the day, it's cool.
Yeah.
But here we go, and this is something we can talk about as we go straight into the match. HCT has his Mage left, and this is a greedier version of Mage than we have seen previously today. And we'll probably, the greediest version of the Mage, I think, is in the tournament, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But Doomsayers, Mr. Sottle, they're pretty good. And he has 2 of them.
I think you, Mr. Sottle, is my father's name.
They're pretty good, though.
They're very, very
drawing
solid.
2 of them.
This hand is about as much of the dream as HCT can pick up with the build that he has. Double Doomsayer, Fire Tree Witch Doctor just to play out early here if he wants to. Voodoo Doll to be able to snipe out a Sea Giant if it gets to that point, and then Dragonmaw Scorcher just on token patrol backing all that up. And then as I was on that extended sentence, Ziliax comes into the hand just to round it all out.
This play is great. This would look funny not too long ago. Because you've Doomsayed a 0-2 Death Rattle into minions, but this negates such a good turn from Muzzy. He can't just Evil Genius this to just gain the lackeys, he loses even more of his board.
Right.
So that Doomsayer, although looked a little bit weird, was very, very nice. But
again!
I can imagine, though, HCT being asked about this Mage deck. Like, oh, you're a bit greedy. You're not worried about the aggro decks? No, you just draw the anti-aggro cards. That's how you do it, and he's proving it right now.
I'm not so sure about this second Doomsayer, though. Okay, so generally, you don't want to play a Doomsayer in a turn where it's likely that your opponent can kill it and gain tempo, right? Because it doesn't do anything.
It saves you health, if that's the way, but that's the maximum it does.
Well, it's Holy Light for 7, whatever. That's a terrible card. No one would play that. Except Crane, maybe. But if you, in this position... Can you expect Zoo to reasonably be able to kill this and gain tempo? I don't think it's unreasonable, right? Like, with a combination of cards like Abusive Sergeant, Grim Rally, and all these cards, and then Muzzy playing Soulfire on top of that as well, I don't think it's particularly unreasonable.
Oh, it's really tough, isn't it? I'm not sure. My worry for HCT is what he could ping one, but then is the board that comes back...
So many possibilities.
I'm just thinking, is the board that comes back at him then just already too big? Is my problem. Because if it's already too big, like, and a Grim Rally goes off, especially because he can't coin Scorcher out now, if the board that just comes back at him because you just killed a 1-1 or played a 2-2, then the Doomsayer never goes off because this deck doesn't run AoE. So is it going down then and saying, well, you need a decent slew of cards there? I mean, we saw Grim Rally and the Abusive Sergeant to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a decent ask, I think.
Sure.
From Muzzy. So I think the risk was worth it. He had the second one, he had the mana, he could have only developed a 2-2 or pinged. So I think the Doomsayer was fine.
I think like Carpet Abusive would have done it as well, right?
What? So 3, 2, 4, sure.
And then kind of Soulfire plays you'd be okay with if they happened, I think. If your opponent had to Soulfire that, you'll take those. I guess the Grim Rally turn was the only bad turn for you. So you're kind of just betting against your opponent having 1 of 2 Grim Rallies in their opening hand, which I think in what is a pretty bad matchup for you is probably a reasonable bet to take. All right, I'll allow it.
And it does buy some time, right? Because Muzzy could have had a value trade or just ignore the 2-2 and then just push more damage face. And Yueying's deck does not do well about coming. There's no heal in the deck.
Right.
Sorry, outside of 1 Rotten Apple Bomb and Ziliax, but there's no like on-demand heal, should I say. And I think with 2 Giggling Inventors, I think that Yueying might just want time more than anything else. There's the Sea Giant though, and we saw the kind of funny look here where the Voodoo Doll is not on the Sea Giant right now. It is on a 2-4, and there is not there is the other Voodoo Doll in hand, so Yueying had it safe to deal with this. But it could have been very wrong if he only had the 1.
Yeah. It's one of those weird spots where you kind of sit, you know, look on with caster vision and say, the fact that was such a bad Voodoo Doll for Yueying, can you ever get a read that there is a second Voodoo Doll in his hand? It's a very easy thing to say when you're sat in our position, but it's such a key card against, you know, a giant deck that you start to wonder if your opponent would really bother to throw it away. But I think they probably would if they had nothing better to do.
I was going to say, or do you think the hand's so bad that you need to play Voodoo Doll because there's nothing else that turn?
I think that's the conclusion that you come to, right? It's like, well, I can have the read that means he either has second Voodoo Doll or his hand's so bad that he doesn't have options and he just has to spend his mana. And then you conclude that since you don't have a strong read, you just do your strongest thing that turn, which is playing your Sea Giant. Now, the chances that he has a third Voodoo Doll in his hand are extremely slim. So I would definitely go ahead and drop this Sea Giant.
Yeah. That was by far the best draw in the deck for Muzzy there. And maybe even game-winning draw. Because I don't really know what Yueying does here.
Maybe Grim Rally number 2 could compete with it as a draw. When you have your Evil Genius turn and drop lackeys, Grim Rally everything, push a ton of damage.
I do think either way that Yueying has to look at this Fire Tree Witch Doctor and cross his fingers for a Polymorph, a Nova, a Blizzard, something to deal with this 8-8. Or...
It's something to go back to on that Doomsayer discussion as well, because he did have the opportunity to look in the box of the Fire Tree Witch Doctor, like take a turn just to play it and see what came out, and then if he does get Blizzard or Frost Nova or Ray of Frost even, then that can potentially affect his later turns to get a Doomsayer down.
Definitely tough. That's a lot of long-term planning.
It is. But again, bad matchup. You know, we're talking about the risk you take of just playing the Doomsayer and saying my opponent doesn't have good options.
So... few options here, but Coin Blast Wave is live now, and then Yueying can just take the hit and play Giggling Inventor. He could get Flame Strike, but I don't think that does enough because the follow-up this turn isn't good enough unless he plays Ziliax and hopes.
How many minions would he overkill? Is it just the 1 this time?
1, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need stuff, right? He's got stuff, he just needs the time to play it.
Sure, but, you know, if there were a lot, you know, if all of these minions had 1 health, for example, and you have all these chances,
that would have been
like a miracle spell to get you out of trouble.
But here, I mean, he already has the Dragon for the Crowd Roaster as well.
Unity, precision.
He's going to go for Ziliax this turn. If this was the case, was Flame Strike not better? Oh, is he going long term and thinking Blast Wave Scorcher?
Whoa, that's ambitious.
I just don't know when he's playing his Blast Wave now.
Well, so to answer your original question, would Flame Strike be better? No, it would not really be any different, because even if the Giant is used to trade into the Ziliax, which is nonsense, of course that's not going to happen, but even if it did, then the Giant would still be an 8-5 and Flame Strike still wouldn't clear it anyway. So I don't think Flame Strike would have been any better than Blast Wave is here.
I was just wondering if there's more buffs coming down, so Blast Wave doesn't actually clear the board.
Sure.
If you're not going to play it that turn.
Again, there's only 1 Grim Rally remaining.
Sure.
Sometimes you just got to assume your opponent doesn't have all the good things.
And 0 healing as well coming out of this second part of Ziliax because the Lackey just able to clear this off. There's the Magic Carpet getting the job done. And this is the problem. Once a carpet sticks and starts to get work done, you cannot stick any other minions. And this is the weird part, though, because now Giggling Inventor sucks. That's why I thought...
That's the better argument to me, for sure.
I got there.
The curve of Blast Wave into Giggling Inventor did seem to give you an opportunity where maybe there aren't enough attacks on board to be able to plow through, because whether it costs 7 or whether it costs 5, it's still 4 attacks that you have to allocate into the Divine Shields before you can get anything. But with a Magic Carpet on the board, that's all going to end up being pretty futile anyway.
Whoa!
One spell off the Paveling Wave, and he picks up... Oh my...
What is it with Mage and World Championship, Sol?
And now Power of Creation, like the Stegatrons, can potentially dig him out of this?
Or even just Crowd Roaster. And then maybe that's enough based on what he plays. Because Rush doesn't do anything to HCT's face this turn. Muzzy just has to go wide.
Yeah. I think Muzzy, when your opponent's playing a weird card in their deck, as Power of Creation has kind of become weird, it's
unfortunately.
cut. Yeah, it's cut from a lot of these lists. You do then kind of tend to naturally focus on a little bit when you're planning your turns. So I think he definitely will be considering the implications of Power of Creation here.
Yeah, no matter how many times you give Rush to something, no, it will not gain charge.
No.
Just get the extra attack though. And there's Soulfire. Okay, well, there are Sunwalkers, there are 4/7 taunts.
And there are 30 total 6-drops in the game, I believe.
Does taunt reliably, so 2 taunts at one time.
What to do?
So yeah, both of those taunts would make you survive unless I'm missing something on board.
Yes.
Because
there are Magic Carpets, though.
No,
two of them, in fact.
But only potentially 3 cards without Solarium.
Yeah. All right. Rips it. Some walkers.
Okay, snap pick. And now we have to see how Muzzy deciphers this. The Soulfire is the key one as well.
Yeah.
No 1-drops. Magic Carpets suck. Muzzy drawing the high end of a curve of his deck here.
Still just gets there, right? Almost certainly now.
I just love 0 1-drops drawn with 2 Magic Carpets on the board. Okay, so 3/1 goes into 3/1 procs a shield, 1/6 procs a shield. Well, if that's the case, the 2/4 may as well proc the shield.
Because nothing, you're not playing anything that benefits from the Magic Carpet
Okay,
anyway.
so then you can go... Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah, that's the easy way
That'll
to
do
do
it.
it. Yeah, instead of having to worry about breakpoints, just kill everything, get the 3 knives to go face, and fire off the Soulfire. Makes sense.
And Sol, we're never going to hear the end of it, but Sol likes Soulfire. The players who like Soulfire have also won games of Zoo.
All I'm saying
Maybe you've got a point, Sol, okay?
when an Archthief for farm is being played, the player that's blowing up isn't shutting out aggressive strategies. This is much more like where he's targeting this deck, which again brings us into interesting discussions of build your mage as greedy as possible, ban warrior in the series.
Yes.
Like it does seem a little silly in several places, but it just goes to show how much respect is being given to warrior, and in particular Dr. Boom, the hero card's ability to just win bad matchups.
Yeah, and to be honest, just after today, I can't wait to see what the win rates and matchup scores have been across each deck archetype and even within builds.
Right.
Just to see what's starting to shake out, because let's not joke around here. This is basically 16 of the best players in the world, and they're not messing around on this stage. And Muzzy starting off there with the Shaman. You see some key cards I'll point out in this list, which is the Hecklebot you can see in the opening hand there, as well as Walking Fountain. I'd say Walking Fountain, pretty much the singular card that has enabled Shaman, at least for me in this expansion.
Yeah, most of the late game Shamans have been very reliant on that card just to be able to bounce them back. You know, some people are using ways to cheat it out early, for example, which you can do. Some people are pairing it with like Ancestral Spirit to get huge amounts of burst healing out of it. You know, kill it off and it just resummons itself, gets to rush again in the same turn. Basically a Reno Jackson on a stick with built-in removal. Very, very powerful card, and really one of the 2 cards, I would say, making Control Shaman very viable in this expansion. The second being right where you want it to be in the opening hand of Muzzy, Hagatha's Scheme.
Oh, sorry.
Being a card that upgrades in power every turn it is held in your hand. It's an AoE card, starts off dealing 1 damage, increases incrementally each turn of the game that passes. So by keeping it in your opening hand or drawing it early, it's then able to do massive amounts of AoE damage later on in the game.
Yeah, and that's the key point. I mean, when I tell you that Hagatha's Scheme is good versus this mage that creates massive minions, you're like, wait, what? It starts at 1. 5 mana deal 3, deal 4. No, you can very easily go up to 5 mana deal 10.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of matchups, and this is non-different because cards like Hex and Earthshock, for example, do so well versus this mage deck. It means that you can stall the game out long enough that suddenly, oh, you've made a big board with Khadgar, Conjurers, Scheme. They're all dead. Try again, friend. And
yeah,
that is often the case.
Worth noting though, those power cards that you mentioned, the Earthshock and Hex, they are only single copies, both of them, for Muzzy in his deck. And I think you're actually seeing here, HCT just being a little bit scared of the potential Earthshock swing coming back the other way. Plays a 5-4 instead of what would have been, what, a 4-6 coming down there?
Yeah, and I actually really, really like this because you've got to ask yourself certain questions. Yes, it doesn't have... The rush doesn't do anything.
Whoa.
Whoa, 1 second.
Oh.
Whoa!
Oh, steady on!
Thank you, Muzzy. I will have a free mountain giant that can attack on the same turn. Voodoo Doll to ping off this Hecklebot. Forget what I was talking about. It just doesn't matter anymore.
He just ripped the Hecklebot.
I'm shocked. That's all I've got. I literally said to you when we were looking at deck lists before we streamed, before we cast this match, I said, oh, these Hecklebots kind of suck versus Mage, don't they?
All right,
Muzzy just plays it.
Let's bring us back crashing down to reality for a second, because I'm going to read out a bunch of minions in HCT's deck right now that would not have been bad to pull out with the Hecklebot, right? 2 Doomsayers, 2 Sunfury Protectors, 2 Voodoo Dolls, Scale Worms are fine, Twilight Drake, not the end of the world, Dragonmaw Scorcher, 3-6, who cares? Rotten Apple Balm, 4-5, not the end of the world.
I feel like this is a very quick review of cards of Saul now.
Right? But I can keep going. I'm now going to read out a list of cards that just cause you to lose the game if it gets pulled out. Alexstrasza, Kalagos, Mountain Giant. It's a much, much shorter list, right? 2 Giggling Inventors as well, by the way, that I did not mention on the good list. Like, it looks bad because of the results that we saw, but you can't be results-oriented. There is a massive list of minions that Hecklebot pulls out where Muzzy comes out ahead.
He's a braver guy than I am. Because...
He's also a better player than you are.
Yeah, of course he is. But it's kind of funny because it was completely opposite to the point I was going to make that HCT was about to... Yeah, I got halfway through.
Okay.
But HCT, by playing the Scale Worm, said, I'm not just going to get wrecked by a card.
Sure.
Right? And it was the kind of opposite that... But he was like, it's unlikely I'm going to get wrecked by a card, but I might, right? Okay. And it's kind of just opposite directions. Very interesting.
But now...
Hecklebot number 2!
Well, Muzzy, having pulled the Mountain Giant and taken a beating from it, is now back in a position where, he can just very easily restabilize from this point. Yeah. There are Divine Shields in the way, which makes his Walking Fountain a little bit annoying, but no big deal. He can pop them out with the 1/1s that he has, and he can just start healing up for huge amounts this turn. Nope.
Hey, there we go. 50-50.
Yeah. 50-50, it's either a Mountain Giant or it's not?
Yes.
Okay.
I meant, like, bad, good.
Okay.
One thing to note as well is outside of exactly Kalecgos into something silly, this mage deck does not have burst damage from hand. It literally has to be Conjurers into... Oh, okay. We're close. Conjurers into, say, Reckless Rocketeer, or even Power of Creation into those. So certain weird things have to happen to get burst damage. So Muzzy is like just never dead that turn. Basically.
He did take another big risk though by leaving the 2/1 up on board. That is an amazing Conjurer's Calling target. And you can see now, I think Muzzy will have the clearest read he's ever had in his life that there is no Conjurer's Calling in his opponent's hand. But you can see HCT is sat on Khadgar, which means there potentially Khadgar and the Conjurer's Calling would have been devastating Speaking of devastating, you know that Drake that you held for a while, HCT, because you just didn't want it to get Earthshocked? Well, sometimes this happens when you do that.
Might Earthshock the 1-2 to push 3 to face, you never know. But yeah, it is available with the coin, if Muzzy even wants to. Are you scared of it? Well, there's the read of no Conjurers calling, and also 4-drops aren't that scary, but I also don't really know what Muzzy's using coin for the rest of this game, so I think doing this is just fine.
Agreed.
And now, things might start come crashing down.
Alex Straza your face while you have heal for 8 just on the board and it only does 1 damage to begin with.
This is the power level of this card. It's kind of absurd, isn't it? It just resets games.
Walking Fountain?
Yes. Yeah. It just resets games.
Absolutely.
The problem is now, they're playing the matchup effectively from turn 10. And Muzzy's deck, both decks do it well, but because there's no burst from HCT, he has to just start all over again.
Yeah.
And with Hagatha, things start getting real weird.
Real weird.
Well, because Hexes come back, Earthshock's come back, even Bloodlust potentially.
You're a pessimist, aren't you?
Disguised as an optimist.
Yeah.
I just lose a lot, so I just know. I just know what happens.
That's true. Yeah, no, you're a realist. You just live in your sad reality. Jeez.
There's a small thing here for HCT. Because he has now seen 2. If these die, they're gone. So there's no absurd healing.
Yep.
So no, I'm saying just this is bad, but I'm just saying he then knows that if these die, if he can find a way to clear these off, Caligo's Flame Strike, for example, would do a pretty nice job right now. Then the game is flat again. It just that's the game from 30. You're not going to re-heal afterwards.
Yeah.
It's Caligos. Nova calling or explosion. Do you just Nova? And try and get Caligos to live?
Yeah, so if you Nova, then potentially your 10-drop sticks,
Khadgar,
and you can
Conjure.
make the world's biggest 10-drop board on the following turn.
I mean, it's as good a plan as I can think of, so.
Doesn't seem like the worst thing
And
in the
you've
world.
seen one scheme?
Yeah.
You've seen... Have you seen a Hex? Oh no, he mulled Hex, right? Yeah, so I think he has 1 Hex left. And it's completely non-susceptible to Hagatha, the Witch hero card as well. Because you assume they've all got more than 3 health, I hope, for 10 drops.
Your 10 drops? Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd hope so. You're having a bad time.
I mean, Khadgar's going to bite the dust, but everyone else is fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not that you should snap pick anything in a World Championship match.
Absolutely.
But you already have 1 Conjurers, which is effectively 2 Conjurers. You do not need 4 right now. You need to not lose.
No possible answer, I believe.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you some questions for some analysis, but I kind of just want to wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Interesting. Muzzy just smashing totem here. Seems to suggest he's not going to Hagatha this turn, which, is pretty much a given because all it does is clear his own board.
It's also the sickest totem, so he can Hagatha next turn.
Sure.
Which is insane.
That's fair.
Okay, so Muzzy's saying, you know what? I'm going to go wide. The healing totem is actually pretty sick. And here we go.
Whoa. Now he can even potentially keep his Caligos if he wants to and do it on the Giggling Inventor instead. But no, the Divine Shield taunt, the little mechs are going to get in the way of his board space.
Yeah. I like 10
So
drops.
I think 10s it is.
He can also taunt up choice minions as well with his Sun Fury.
All right, 2 Hackers. That's going to make this game nice and clowny. Just what we like to see. 2 Boomship dudes.
Destruction.
Shields up.
Boo.
Not going to go again.
The double card to be taunted. Just a side note as well, the way Khadgar works, in case you were not familiar, is when he resummons again, it duplicates the summon.
Yes.
So you will always see mirrored. So we saw two big boys, the 7/9s, and then we saw two Hakkars, because Khadgar doesn't summon new ones, he summons duplicate copies.
Correct. So the vanilla outcome from that Conjurer's Calling, he would have got 1 7/9 and 1 Hakkar. And so Khadgar just duplicated a single copy of each of those.
What do you make of Archmage Vargoth in this list, Sol?
Yeah, I wonder, because obviously, like, Electra's in there, and that's a powerful card, so it did immediately kind of get me thinking when I was looking at Control Shaman about whether Vargoth went in there, but when I tried it, it just wasn't really cutting the mustard. It was powerful with Raynatodes, for example, was like, you just kind of scrambled and scrapped, did everything that you could to kind of just about survive, and then that was like your game winner.
Farsight.
Just logging out, yeah, and then Farsight will get the job done as well. Obviously, Lightning Storm, reasonable.
Can we just give one final shout out to that healing totem?
Yeah.
Because without it, I think Muzzy just dies.
Very possible.
Because he can't play Hagatha, so then his late game plan gets way, way, way worse. Or if Hagatha's delayed, it gets way, way
Well,
worse.
I mean, he just thumps his minions into the minions first and then plays Hagatha afterwards. It doesn't make a huge difference.
I guess.
Can we give a shout out to this 5 armor?
Yeah, okay, there you go. Give a shout out to Hagatha, never mind.
Yeah.
Ignore everything
Can we give a shout out to this Witch's Brew? Can we give a shout out to this Vargoth being dead so Muzzy doesn't double up on these echoes? I don't know what that even means. Doesn't really help, does it?
No.
Can you make that noise again, please?
No.
Nice.
It wasn't as good the second
It was
time.
pretty close.
What's the foot next to the game ends?
Yeah, I mean,
If that's the way this match ends, I'm not going to lie, I'll laugh a little bit.
I kind of want to ping my Hakar this turn. Oh, never mind!
There we go.
Geddon!
Doesn't matter about the Bloods if you can just kill them anyway. It turns out, if you Conjurer's Calling a 7-drop and get Geddon, that does the damage you need to do. And not the most impactful in other ways that we've seen,